Can you believe there is a country on Earth larger than Pluto, where winter can turn your breath to ice within seconds? Across Siberia, hundreds of thousands of people still live in some of the coldest cities on the planet, while nomadic families continue following their reindeer herds across the Arctic. Beneath Moscow, subway stations resemble magnificent palaces, while local customs, traditional foods, and markets can leave visitors completely surprised. Before we explore the 10 most remarkable things about Russia, please like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which image of this country makes you the most curious. The journey begins right now. Number 10. Russia, a country larger than Pluto. Imagine this. You are standing on the western edge of Russia, where the morning sun shines over old church domes and European-style streets. Now look east. That territory stretches all the way to the Pacific Ocean, where islands near Japan are already feeling the sea wind, while the West is only beginning its day. Russia covers more than 17 million square kilometers, making it the largest country in the world. Pluto is only about 16.6 million square kilometers in area. That means a country on Earth is even larger than a celestial body. Stretching across both Europe and Asia, Russia spans 9 time zones and borders 14 countries. When Moscow is starting breakfast, the Russian Far East is already moving into the evening. That scale reveals itself in train journeys that run for hours, through forests, and along roads that seem to have no end. What is surprising is that most of this territory is sparsely populated. More than 70% of the land lies in Asia. But more than 70% of the population lives in the European part of the country. Because of that, Siberia still holds taiga forests, frozen rivers, isolated villages, and vast empty spaces that continue for hundreds of kilometers. Traveling across a country like this feels like crossing an entire continent. The Trans-Siberian Railway runs for more than 9,200 kilometers, passing through forests, grasslands, mountains, and remote towns. In many regions, airplanes function like buses in the sky, connecting places that are difficult to reach by road. The climate itself can also be extreme. Oymyakon in Siberia has recorded temperatures of about -67.7 degrees Celsius. In that level of cold, breath turns into white mist, metal can injure exposed skin, and boiling water can freeze before it touches the ground. And yet Russia is not only a land of ice and snow. About 144 million people live there, and many communities still preserve their own languages and traditions. From the Arctic to the Caucasus, Russia feels like many different worlds existing inside one border. Number 9. The Nenets. Life at the end of the world. Beyond the Arctic Circle, the Yamal tundra opens like a white sea of snow, wind, and slowly moving reindeer herds. This place is often called the end of the world, but for the Nenets, it is not a land to leave behind. It is home. Every year, nomadic families travel with their reindeer across hundreds of kilometers. Some journeys stretch for more than 1,000 kilometers, crossing frozen rivers, windy plains, and snowfields that run to the horizon. The Nenets do not force the animals to follow them. They watch the herd and move with its rhythm. When the reindeer stop, the family rebuilds its life there. Their shelter is called a chum, a cone-shaped tent made from wooden poles and thick reindeer hides. At the center stands a metal stove, the most important source of heat during winters that can fall to nearly -50 degrees Celsius. If the fire goes out, the cold quickly pushes through the hides and blankets. Almost everything in Nenet's life is connected to the reindeer. The animals provide food, clothing, transportation, and materials for building shelter. Children learn how to guide sleds, read tracks in the snow, understand the weather, and take down the tent before the next journey. Water is made by melting snow, and frozen meat sometimes has to be cut with an axe or a saw. But this world is changing. Gas fields, pipelines, and industrial roads are moving deeper into Yamal. Climate change causes the snow to melt earlier, changes the way ice forms, and makes it harder for reindeer to find lichen. Migration routes that were once safe can become dangerous. For young people, the choice is becoming more complex. A Nenets child may grow up inside a chum, listening to stories about ancestors, while also knowing phones, schools, and the lights of the city. One path keeps them close to tradition, the other leads toward modern life. The reindeer herds on the horizon do not only represent an ancient way of life, they also show a culture trying to protect its identity, while the future of the end of the world becomes harder to predict. Number 8. Russian women. Elegance in a harsh country. When people think of Russian women, beauty is often the first image that comes to mind. Yet as you travel across the country, you quickly realize that there is no single standard. Russia is home to more than 190 ethnic groups, from Slavic communities in the West to Turkic, Caucasian, Arctic, and Siberian peoples. As a result, the appearance of Russian women changes noticeably from one region to another. In Moscow, you may see women wearing elegant coats as they move quickly through subway stations and past modern buildings. In St. Petersburg, the scene feels slower, with long coats, scarves, and a quiet sense of confidence along historic streets. In rural areas, beauty appears in simpler moments. A mother leading her child through the snow, a grandmother tending a garden at her dacha, or a woman carrying groceries home before daylight. Style in Russia is not only about fashion. For many women, the way they dress also reflects self-respect, even when winter temperatures fall to around -20 degrees Celsius. What stands out even more is the strength behind that appearance. Russian women have lived through wars, economic upheaval, family pressure, and major social change. That strength is rarely loud. It appears through patience, discipline, and the ability to keep moving forward. The gender imbalance also shapes daily life in Russia. For every 100 women, there are only about 86 men. Men live an average of around 67 years, while women live nearly 77 years. In many families, women care for children, support their parents, and preserve family traditions. In large cities, they are active in business, science, medicine, the arts, sports, and education. From ballet studios to music schools, discipline is often developed from an early age. For this reason, the beauty of Russian women is not limited to their faces or the way they dress. It can also be found in their independence, sense of responsibility, and ability to remain calm through a severe climate and a history filled with upheaval. If this journey feels worth continuing, take a second to subscribe to the channel. Every subscription gives our team more motivation to invest in better content, stronger visuals, and the stories still ahead. Thank you for joining us. Now let us continue exploring. Number 7. Yakutsk, the coldest major city in the world. Imagine waking up in a city where the first thing you need to do is not check your phone, but look at the temperature outside. This is Yakutsk, one of the coldest major cities in the world, located in Russia's far east and built on permanent permafrost. More than 300,000 people live here, even though winter temperatures often fall below -50 degrees Celsius. In that kind of cold, breath instantly turns into white mist. Eyelashes freeze, and exposed skin can begin to ache within just a few minutes. The city's architecture is designed to adapt to the frozen ground below. Buildings stand on tall concrete pillars, creating a gap between the foundation and the earth. If heat from the structure melts the permafrost, The ground can sink and crack the building itself. New residential areas are often planned with shops, schools, and heated parking spaces close together, so people do not have to travel too far outdoors. A morning in Yakutsk feels like preparing for an expedition. People dress in multiple layers of thermal clothing, wool socks, fur hats, gloves, insulated boots, and heavy coats. Children go to school with their faces covered, leaving only their eyes exposed. Cars cannot be turned off for too long because the engine may not start again. Many vehicles need their own heating systems or insulated covers to survive the night. At the bus stop, a heated waiting room is not a luxury. It is protection. Spending only about 15 to 20 minutes outside can already feel like a serious challenge. In the winter market, fish stand upright like silver boards, while reindeer meat, horse meat, and ducks freeze solid in the open air. Vegetables are often more expensive because they have to be transported across very long distances. Warmth in Yakutsk is a source of survival. If the heating system stops working, pipes can freeze, and an apartment can quickly become dangerous. The people here do not simply endure the winter. They have built an entire city that continues to function every day on a foundation of ice.
Number 6. Russia's unusual but meaningful traditions. On the streets, Russians often smile less at strangers and may appear quite serious. Yet once you enter a Russian home, the atmosphere can change completely. Tea is poured, food keeps arriving, and conversations begin. The reserved attitude seen outside quickly gives way to a deeply warm form of hospitality. This is something many visitors remember for a long time. During Epiphany, many people cut cross-shaped holes into frozen rivers or lakes before stepping into the icy water. For them, this is not only a physical challenge, it is also a ritual of purification and spiritual renewal. Before a journey, some families follow the custom of sitting quietly for a few seconds before leaving home. That brief moment of silence is seen as a way to regain calm and wish for a safe journey. When visiting someone's home, guests often bring chocolate, tea, or flowers. Flowers should be given in odd numbers because even numbers are associated with funerals. Many people also avoid shaking hands across a doorway and wait until both people are fully inside before greeting each other. At the tea table, jam, honey, bread, and sweets often appear with repeated invitations to eat more. For many Russian families, making sure a guest is well fed is a way of showing respect and affection. Inside a banya, people sit in intense steam, gently tap their skin with bundles of birch branches, then step outside into the cold or roll in the snow. Birch trees also appear in poetry, folk songs, and traditional rituals as symbols of beauty, home, and endurance. When winter ends, the Maslenitsa festival brings music, games, bonfires, and thin golden blini that resemble small suns. Beyond the cities, many families return to their dachas to garden, drink tea, and spend time together. These customs may surprise visitors, but they all reflect the same idea. In a country shaped by long winters and a history filled with hardship, culture is how people preserve warmth in both body and spirit.
Number 5. Russia's unbelievable natural wonders. Beyond the frozen regions, Russia reveals a completely different world, where nature can make visitors feel as though they are looking at a distant planet. In the Coral Islands, Onekotan Island hides Krenitsin volcano, rising from the center of a lake inside an ancient volcanic crater. Seen from above, the entire landscape appears almost deliberately arranged. Deep in Altai, unusual stone mushrooms stand with narrow stems supporting heavy caps above them. Wind, rain, and time shaped these formations, yet they remain standing across the vast valleys. Near Mount Demerzi, the Valley of Ghosts offers a different kind of mystery.
When fog moves in, the twisted stone pillars and rock formations seem to become faces, animals, or human figures watching from the mountainside. Farther east, Lake Baikal reaches a depth of about 1,642 meters, making it the deepest lake in the world. During winter, its surface freezes into clear blue ice, revealing cracks beneath your feet that resemble flashes of lightning. Along the Lena River, the Lena pillars rise nearly 100 meters high, forming long stone walls beside the water. In the evening light, they resemble towers of rock reflected across the river. In Kamchatka, volcanoes, hot springs, black beaches, and steaming valleys create one of Russia's wildest regions. This peninsula extends about 1,250 kilometers into the Pacific Ocean. In the Caucasus Mountains, Mount Elbrus rises to about 5,642 meters and is often considered the highest peak in Europe. Deep gorges, highland meadows, snow-covered mountain ranges, and ancient villages surround it. Across each region, Russia changes completely, from blue ice and volcanoes to stone valleys and enormous mountain peaks. This constant transformation means that nature here does more than create remarkable scenery. It also creates the feeling of stepping into a legend in the middle of the modern world. Number 4. Is Russia really an affordable place to live? The cost of living in Russia depends greatly on where you choose to live. In Moscow, a one-bedroom apartment can cost around $700 to $1,000 per month. That price does not only pay for housing, it also provides access to employment opportunities, hospitals, universities, restaurants, airports, and cultural activities. In St. Petersburg, rent is often similar, especially in the city center. But residents also gain access to canals, museums, theaters, and historic neighborhoods. Outside these two major cities, housing prices fall noticeably. In many regional cities, a similar apartment may cost only around $300 to $500 per month. However, salaries are also lower, employment opportunities are more limited, and imported products are harder to find. A place that seems affordable to someone earning income from abroad may still be expensive for a family living on a local salary. Basic utility bills such as heating, electricity, water, and gas may cost around $80 to $120 per month. During the Russian winter, heating is not a comfort. It is necessary to keep an apartment safe. Everyday food costs are usually more manageable when people shop at local markets and cook at home. Groceries for one person may cost around $200 to $300 per month, covering bread, potatoes, buckwheat, eggs, milk, chicken, fish, and vegetables for soup. Public transportation is also relatively affordable. Subway trains and buses allow residents to travel across major cities without owning a car. In colder regions, the situation is different. Rent may be lower, but vegetables, medicine, clothing, spare parts, and imported goods cost more because they must travel over long distances. Owning a car also requires winter tires, engine heating equipment, and regular maintenance. For this reason, there is no single answer to the cost of living in Russia. Moscow and St. Petersburg are expensive, but they offer more opportunities. Regional cities are more affordable, but incomes are lower. Remote places such as Yakutsk may save money on rent, yet the climate and distance always create additional expenses of their own. Number 3. Russia's extreme and comforting foods. When people think of Russian cuisine, they often picture hot soup, dark rye bread, sour cream, dumplings, and tea beside a frost-covered window. The farther east you travel toward Siberia and the Arctic, however, the more food begins to serve a different purpose. There, it is not only something to enjoy, it also helps people survive long winters and extreme isolation. In some indigenous communities, reindeer or seal meat was traditionally preserved by burying it beneath frozen ground for about 6 months, allowing it to ferment slowly. This dish is called kopalchin, and it can be extremely dangerous for anyone unfamiliar with the traditional preparation process. Another dish, kuyukta, is made with larvae taken from reindeer and is sometimes eaten raw by herders in remote regions. For visitors, this may be shocking. For people living on the tundra, it once provided valuable nutrition in an environment where food was scarce. Kiviak follows a similar principle. Small birds are placed inside a seal skin and left to ferment for 6 to 18 months. This food developed from the need to preserve supplies in places where vegetables were scarce and transportation was extremely difficult. Russian cuisine, however, is not defined only by extreme dishes. In cities and family homes, meals are usually warm, filling, and comforting. Pelmeni are small meat-filled dumplings, commonly served with sour cream or butter. Piroshki are baked or fried pastries filled with meat, potatoes, cabbage, mushrooms, or fruit. At the table, shchi offers the simple, familiar taste of cabbage soup, while borscht stands out with the deep red color of beetroot and is usually served with bread and sour cream. Blini are thin pancakes eaten with honey, jam, butter, or caviar. Olivier salad often appears during New Year celebrations, while kvass and mors bring the flavors of bread, berries, and summer into the middle of winter. From the tundra to the family kitchen, Russian cuisine reflects the climate, the need to adapt, and the way people turn hardship into a way of life. Every dish tells the story of how a community has learned to live with its land.
Number 2. The Russian Metro. Palaces beneath the ground. A subway ride is usually just the fastest way to travel from one place to another. But in Russia, passengers can descend underground and discover chandeliers, bronze statues, mosaics, and vast marble halls. In Moscow and St. Petersburg, the metro does more than carry people through their daily routines. Many stations resemble palaces built directly beneath the city. Moscow's first metro line opened on May 15, 1935, with only 13 stations and about 11 kilometers of track. From the beginning, the system was designed not only to transport passengers, but also to display the art, power, and ambition of the Soviet era. At Komsomolskaya Station, chandeliers hang above polished stone floors, while golden mosaics stretch between marble columns. During rush hour, people hurry to work through a space that resembles the grand hall of a palace. At Mayakovskaya Station, smooth curves, shining steel columns, and a clean design create a rare modern appearance. During the war, many stations were also used as shelters and underground gathering spaces. At Ploshchad Revolyutsy, bronze statues of workers, soldiers, students, and farmers stand along the platform. Many passengers touch the nose of a dog statue for good luck, causing the metal to become brighter over time. In St. Petersburg, many stations lie extremely deep because the city was built on soft, waterlogged ground. Some platforms are more than 60 meters below the surface, requiring passengers to travel down long escalators before reaching them. What makes this grandeur remarkable is that it remains part of ordinary daily life. A grandmother carrying groceries, a student looking at a phone, or a musician playing an instrument can all be seen among chandeliers, bronze statues, and marble walls. For this reason, the Russian metro is more than a transportation system. It is a place where history, architecture, and modern life exist together beneath the ground. Every train journey becomes a brief encounter with the past of the city above. Number 1. Russia's flea markets, where history is sold in the open air. To understand Russia beyond its palaces, white snow, and familiar images, visit a flea market on a weekend morning. There are no polished glass cases, or carefully arranged stalls designed for tourists. Instead, car trunks stand open, blankets cover the ground, and old belongings are placed for sale by hands that have done this for many years. At the center of the market, a Soviet-era watch, several faded medals, an axe with a wooden handle, yellowed books, and an old toolbox may all lie beside one another. To someone passing by in a hurry, they are simply used objects. To the seller, however, every item is connected to a family, a home, or a period that has already passed. Deeper inside you may find enamel cups, radios, black and white photographs, cracked suitcases, bicycle parts, bronze bells, and books stacked in uneven piles. Buyers must bend down, turn through the pages, examine every scratch, and search patiently. This no longer feels like modern shopping. It feels like touching layers of memory that have been preserved in the open air. Most of the sellers are elderly. They sit on small stools, drink tea from thermos bottles, talk with people they know, and wait for visitors to stop. For them, the market does more than provide additional income. It is also a place to meet others, maintain a weekend routine, and share the stories behind objects that have remained with them for years. In another corner, chickens, rabbits, young plants, onions, garlic, honey, wooden chairs, bicycle frames, and old spare parts create a space that feels both disorderly and full of life. Not everything here is valuable, but almost every object once belonged to a real person and formed part of a real life for many years. For this reason, the beauty of the market does not come from luxury. It can be found in faded labels, polished handles, curled pages, and the tired hands of the people placing these objects on the ground. History does not always remain behind museum glass. Sometimes, it lies on a blanket in the open air, waiting for someone to stop and ask about its story. Russia is not a country that can be understood through a few numbers or familiar images on a map. The deeper we look, the more we discover a place filled with contrasts. Vast, yet almost empty in many regions. Freezing cold, yet home to close and welcoming communities. Modern, yet always carrying visible traces of history. After everything we have seen, perhaps the most memorable part is not only the landscape or the unfamiliar traditions, but the way people here have learned to adapt to a land that constantly demands endurance. If you enjoyed this journey, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others. And do not forget to leave a comment below. Which story about Russia will stay with you the longest?